And so,
Beautiful.
voilà, that's
Voilà.
just a short introduction. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yes. Well, first, thank you, Shalva, for doing this. I want you to introduce yourself, calling in from Bali, which is so special. So tell us about you.
Okay, so I'm homeopath, hypnotherapist, and shamanic and quantum healing practitioner. And so I kind of mix all of those practice together and make my own salad. So yeah, so when someone is coming usually and give me like you know, the choice to do to approach whatever challenge they have with my own method, then I call one of those modalities when it's required, and usually it's an integrative method that is allowing people to really tap into approach a challenge from all the layers, from many layers, because when we have when something is going on, whether it is a physical challenge, mental, emotional, or even spiritual challenge, usually this challenge is recorded in all of the layers of our body, because we are much more than just a physical body, as many of you already know. But the physical layer, it's just the final manifestation. It's just like if we are printing the program that has been going on in the hard disk before, which is all the other layers of the body, the etheric body, the mental body, emotional body, astral body, you know, spiritual body, and so on and so on. And so whatever we are creating there, we are printing the results of this work in the physical body. So the physical body is just really the manifestation of what has happened in the background.
Yes.
So
And we're going to get more into that. Thank you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
thank you for sharing that. These different modalities and what you're saying is I think why we have so many conversations, because in my work and my coaching and my healing, I too work on the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual. So I think, you know, when I share this interview on my channel, people want to hear about all these layers, right? And when you and I were speaking originally about this topic and why it's so important and it resonates so much with both of us, is there's so many things happening in the background that we're not conscious of. And we were talking about how it shows up in life, in our behavior, in our choices, in everything. And then once we become aware of it, that's when we can really decide how we want to approach things. So I want you to expand more on what you call the mental and emotional bodies and how they show up. Tell us about
Okay.
that.
So anything, you know, any thought that we think of, any emotion that we are feeling, if it stays like in our field, like for example, a thought that we are dwelling into that become obsessive, or that, you know, like something that we are not able to resolve, and so it stays with us for some time, or an emotion, Sam, that we haven't been able to process, it just stays in the mental or emotional body. Okay, also the energy body eventually, but it's recorded there. So anything that we are not processing, that we think is actually behind us, that we don't think of so much, is actually still recorded in one layer of this body. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that they, for example, let's take the example of thought. A thought, the more we are thinking of this thought, you know, the more it starts creating a form. It's called a thought form. And that thought form, they start to acquire a body on its own. And the more we feed it, the more this body is growing and growing. And eventually it starts acquiring an independence. Mm-hmm. Just like we were speaking last time, that for me, it hit me like I was thinking about that, you know, some time ago, and I realized that actually we could compare that to AI.
How so?
The same way that artificial intelligence can acquire his own independence and start, you know, having a thought and say, hey, having a thought. It's like very, like to, you know, people that work with artificial intelligence are very aware that at some point they know that this artificial intelligence can start turning against the person that created it. and acquire a level of intelligence that is maybe beyond the creator, and start actually having his own independence.
Right.
And what's happening with the thought is that it's actually the same thing. The more we are feeding that thought, the more we are giving power to that thought. It's creating a consciousness that becomes independent of us. Even though it's like a baby, you know, we are creating a baby, we are making that baby, but finally this baby starts to have an independence. Now, the thing is that if this baby is used now to receive food from you, and this is how basically this is the energetic reality of what's happening with depression, for example. Okay, someone is having in the beginning, you know, there is a trigger, and someone is having a hard time and starts to create all those kind of thoughts, like, you know, sadness and of course emotion as well, but also thoughts and beliefs that are starting to take form. And when this thought form, this body starts to acquire independence on its own, it wants to be fed. It wants you to continue feeding it. And if you decide that, oh no, that's it, I don't want to have those thoughts anymore, it's not that simple to actually reverse the process, because now there is a baby that is independent of you and wants to be fed. You want it or not. And so it's going to, it's going to continue to push you to have, you know, this kind of, to keep that vibe, for you to keep that vibration that would allow you to continue producing the thoughts, would, you know, also feed it.
Yeah.
And so that's very pernicious, because now you are having in your field kind of, there are entities actually, you know, there are entities that are with you, they accompany you wherever you go. Now you are not alone at home, you know, you are with all of those entities, and they have a will on their own.
Yeah. And would you say like these, and you know, for people that don't understand the concept of these bodies, these are invisible bodies we're speaking of, these forms. But when you talk about like having its own entity, when people say the voices in my head, would you say that's a manifestation of that?
So there are many different things, many different things. One of them could be that. One of them could be a manifestation of a baby that we created on our own, that became kind of adult, and now it's like a voice on its own. So even me, if I don't want now to give it into that voice, it's still here. Now what's happening, and what I came across in some healing sessions, is that sometimes if the person really want to cut completely the link and stop feeding that consciousness, it's possible, but it has to be done in a proper way. Because if the link is just cut, okay, and that consciousness now has acquired independence, it goes out and starts to go wander and looking for new hosts. Okay, so now how this consciousness will decide to choose in this new host? This consciousness has a frequency, has a vibrational frequency. Okay, and is going to look for a host that holds the same frequency. So if someone, for example, is open because, you know, of you know, something that happened, you know, at a moment, you know, I'm like open to sadness, or open to despair, discouragement, or anything like that, and I open the door, this kind of consciousness can come and find that you're a nice host to stay with.
And this is law of attraction, basically. Right?
So sometimes there are consciousnesses that are not created by you. Those kind of entities, sometimes they are not created by you, but they can meet you on the way, because at some point in your life, you open the door to it.
By being in that particular frequency.
By being in that frequency. So by, you know, the law of resonance, you're going to attract this consciousness, and they're going to enter and say, hey, that's a nice house here. You know, let's stay here. And then you start having these kind of thoughts that come out of nowhere. You don't know what is it from, where is it coming from. When this is happening, straight away, you know, you have the alarm that start on, because you can start, suddenly you can realize that this is not me. Where is this coming from? And this is where we have to realize and to remember that not every thought that crosses our mind is ours.
It could
No,
just be a
emotion.
temporary state of being, really.
This is that, and it could be also that you pick up on something that is actually external, either that you're an empath and you're like picking up on something that is happening in the room or in a bigger environment. And then now if you tune into this and you open the door because you think that it's yours, so you give into this and you open the door, and then you start becoming attractive for these kind of things, and they start to come into you as well. But when you see something like that passing by, just close yourself up and say, hey, hi, hello, I saw you, have a good, and yeah,
see you next time. But so what about, this is like very much, if you have that consciousness, if you have the awareness to know what is yours and what is not yours. And also we're like, I'd love to know more about, like, I had a lot of big challenges recently and I was in a low point for me, and I'm hyper aware of myself. So I know when things are mine, I will know when things are not mine. And I know when I'm sad, and I know how to pull myself out of it. So for people that aren't necessarily there, where we are in terms of our awareness, how do you identify these things? Like, how do you even begin?
Yeah. So first of all, just the fact that we become aware that there are a lot of things that are happening in our mental body that are not ours, or if we made them ours, they have been put by someone else. Okay.
Or like culture or programming or things in the collective.
So they could have been put there by our genealogical line, like the beliefs that are happening in our family, the things that were accumulated in the family,
or the news, or YouTube.
The society, the social media, whatever it is, even like, Netflix, anything that you watch every day, that, all those are programs.
Yeah,
those programs, if you just watch them as as someone is watching a movie from outside, and you are very aware that this is the position that you're taking when you watch that, like an observer, but you don't give into it, you are going to be able to notice at some point that, oh, there is a line here, a common line. That how come every time I watch a movie, they talk about this, that, it looks like almost like it's a program. So when we start exploring our mental body, we find all kind of programs, and this is something that I do, like with people one-to-one, or that I do sometimes in workshops. We kind of find all the programs that have been, so we explore the programs that have been put there by the family, by the society, by other let's say entity that don't have our higher interest in mind. Okay, and you make you start cleaning all of this. Whatever is left that is really yours, this is really like your shadow work, the thing that you have to work on. It's easy after to work on it, because they are, how to pull the strings of what's yours.
Yeah.
But when you're carrying things that you think are yours but are not, and not only that, it's not only the programs that are put in our mind, but also, like, for example, the heavy metals. For example, mercury and aluminum are known to cause a confusion of identity. So, for example, in homeopathy, we would give aluminum to a patient that display some symptoms on mental level, like loss of identity, but like to the point that he doesn't know that if his will is really his own, or if it's someone else's will. So all of those heavy metals that we accumulate in our brain, they are actually like creating a kind of a veil, okay? A veil that is preventing us to access who we really are. So of course, when we don't know who we are, and we're exposed to all kind of foreign programs that are implemented in our mental body, we are not necessarily in tune with what's ours and what's not, because there is such a big veil on our own essence that we don't know. And so that's one of the aspects of this work, is to really take it on every level, like also on chemical level, because the chemical level also affects our mental health and nervously.
Absolutely. And so I think, what I am getting from all of this is when people kind of wake up, quote unquote, to who they really are, to who their soul is, and decide to live a life that's more aligned there, it's easier to make those decisions. It's easier to see when things aren't yours. It's easier to stay away from things that aren't in alignment with you, right?
That, and also just the fact that you know that not everything that is in your mind is actually yours. Not every emotion that is in your happening in your emotional body is actually yours. It's actually helping, because then it gives us a distance to actually say, hey, what do I want here? What do I want? And if I find out that I don't even know what I want, then it's really, really like a wake-up call. It's really. And sometimes we want something, we think we want this, and actually it's not what we want.
Not for our highest good, right?
Yeah. And sometimes when I explore the mental body with people, and we find some programs that are being put there, like many past lives before. Like it's a program that is put on different people, like on a collective level. So it's a collective thing, and that allow people to start wars, to start all kind of trouble. And we are not even aware that we're running on those programs. And so to start to become aware of this on an individual level, it's super important to realize what's happening on the collective level, because what's happening on the collective, it's so much more it's challenging to apprehend. So when we were speaking last time about how we feel when we move from a place to another, like when I feel and the way I think when I'm in Bali, or how I feel and the way I think when I'm in different places in the world, say, how come when I'm in that place, everything that I was thinking of in Bali looks so weird to me, so foreign. Like even my work, I don't even remember how I work here in Bali. I say, how is that possible that I can have such a huge veil on my own consciousness when I am in a different place in the world? And so this is how you realize the power of the egregore, the power of the collective consciousness, which is like the average of the collective consciousness is like one specific frequency. And in order to be able to rise above that frequency, in order not to be influenced by it, you need like a lot of strength, actually.
And I think it's a lot of maintenance. I noticed that for me, it's like there are times when things are more challenging, or if you physically move somewhere and everything is so different. So it's really about being consistent and having a practice and knowing what works for you, right?
Exactly. To do like an emotional shower, a mental shower every day, just the same way you do you shower yourself on the physical level. We have to do a cleansing at least once a week. You don't want to do it
gosh, every day. What are you talking about?
I know, but like for people who are lazy, at least do it once a week, Of course,
And because we're interacting with people, whether it's on Zoom or in real life in person, we still collect that energy. We still collect their ideas, their thoughts, their projections. We don't even have to know them. They're sending stuff at us, right? Like you see someone walk down the street and you judge them, because that's what we do as humans. We judge people.
Yeah.
And guess what that does? It creates an effect on them. Yes. So I'm a big advocate for a daily cleansing, at the end of the day, whatever that is for you, a sage bath, an invocation, a physical bath, whatever. It's so important because this weighs on us, right? Yes. Spiritually, and then emotionally, and then mentally, and then finally physically, and then we get sick. So super important.
The sickness, when it's manifested on a physical layer, it always has crossed all the other layers first.
Yes.
To reach to the physical body. So the physical body is the last manifestation. So what we do when we try to suppress those physical manifestation, and whatever we use to suppress them, we're really suppressing the language of our soul, because the body is the only way our soul can really like shout this to us. Like in the beginning, it's like, hey, inner voice. But when we cut the inner voice with all kind of distraction, then the body is the last the last chance for the soul to give us some message. And when we suppress those messages, like the soul is like, forget about it, I can't do anything with this. If we can communicate, if there is no communication, so the body and the physical manifestation are the communication that the soul has to reach out to us. And so I know that the society today, it's not easy. Like, you cannot call your boss and say, hey, sorry, today I have to communicate with my soul. It has a lot to tell me. Maybe it's going to take 3 weeks. I call you back when I'm done. So I know that the lifestyle we have today is challenging and it doesn't facilitate this for us. And that's the reason why we really have to maintain, as you were saying, to do that daily maintenance, because so it prevents the thing to accumulate to the point that we need to take a big time off, so we resolve things one by one. So there are many tools now to do that. We are not here to speak really about all the tools, because 1 hour is not enough, or whatever time we have. It's not enough to speak about the tools, but already to gain consciousness, to get the awareness that whatever is happening in our mental body, all those thought forms that are accumulating, that we can find, when we scan the mental body, when we can scan the energetic body, we can find those thoughts. You can find them on the energetic level, and you can touch them.
They're actual forms. And I think a lot of us can identify with that, because think about, name a friend, someone in your life. They think about work, they think about their children, they have these recurring thoughts, and those that's what you're speaking of, the recurring thought that stays with you every day, multiple times a day. Maybe it even gives you a headache, maybe it manifests physically even, right? Like these are the things that really need addressing. It's telling you, right? It's showing up because it needs addressing.
You that something is here and is nagging you.
Yes.
Okay? It's nagging you. So, like, one very simple thing that really is efficient with that is to go immerse like in a sea or in a river, like completely naked. And you go with someone that can hold the bathing suit for you. You remove everything, the earrings, the jewelry, even the nail polish, everything you remove. You go with the intention to because some entities can go with that. And when I speak about entities, I don't want like people to start feeling scared or like thinking of like huge demons or anything like that. Anything that acquire a consciousness, even if it's a very low level of consciousness.
So a recurring thought is an example.
Yes, it becomes an entity. So there are all kind of entities. Doesn't need to be like a demon, something. So we want our field to be clear, to be clean, in order to step into our full power, to align with our higher purpose, with our mission, that all our chakras and energetic center will be aligned in order to really be able to channel the divine light and the communication that we're supposed to receive from our soul.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another really good tool is any kind of mindfulness tool. And there's so much talk of meditation now, but it's really the easiest thing you can do. Even if you think you can't meditate, just the act of doing it, the intention of doing it signals to your body, to your organs, to your mind, to your emotions that you are intending to receive a different frequency of peace and calm and healing. So even if you think you're not doing it, or if it's challenging for you, just creating a practice where you set aside time to be more in balance versus an active mode, to be receptive. I think that's really the point of it.
Yes. And there are many tools that we can share later on, and there are many things that can be done, but already, to gain that awareness and to realize that our mental body or emotional body can contain like those forms that can also be damaged and have holes and all kind of cracks and breach, and those holes are the one that are opening the door,
Interesting.
And this is how our physical body is finally reached out, because those doors and holes have been opened on the way. And so those bodies, they are actually our shield.
Yeah, for sure. How did you first become aware of your own mental body and your emotional body?
Well, because the thing is that when I was younger, I was always sick. not necessarily like a big sickness, but like always repetitive inflammation, infections, and always like on cortisone, blah blah blah. So at some point, when I reached like my early 20s, I was like, really, I wish I could just change body and that's it. Like let's wait for the next lifetime, because I can't find a solution with this. And at some point, it hit me that even if I would come back with a new body, those things would come back with me, because I realized that it came like from a very young age, and this gave me a hint. And after I could really explore that deeper when I started my training of hypnotherapist, that actually all of those this mental state and emotional state, we are already coming with it from the previous life. So when we come and we are incarnated on earth in this present lifetime, we are not coming like a complete like whiteboard. It's not that. We are coming with the level of consciousness that we have acquired at the end of the past life. So it's true that in between we go to the light and we realize things and we understand things and we are being taught things. But the level of consciousness that we have finished with in the past, even though we have been given clue in between, this is what we are going to come back with now. And because those information are still recorded in our emotional or mental body, energetic body, and in our energy fields, it's going to be manifested in our physical body at some point. And so this realization made me understand that there is no escape. That even when somebody would like to get a suicide, there is no escape, because you're gonna come back with this.
Yeah. So what's the solution?
The solution is really to address it. And the moment I started really deepening all of those metaphysical, spiritual, and all those ways that is, very like that we use all the time, with the shamanic approach, but even with many other approaches, like homeopathy is one of the most spiritual medicine I know. We really, we are given tools, we are given all kind of ways to really address it, and it can be done very quickly, actually, very quickly.
Right.
We don't need to
I know.
for years. We don't need to suffer for years. We just need to go direct to the root thing, and that's why it's very important to address it in all of the layers. Because if you address something in one specific layer and you just and that's it, it's going to be recreated. Yeah. Because it's like addressing cancer, just like with like on physical level. Cancer has happened in the first place. It has been programmed in different layers. So it doesn't make sense to just address it. Any sickness on the physical layer is going to remanifest in a different way. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I know in our training we have dived really deep into the spiritual healing of anything, really, the essence of whatever our clients are dealing with, which is so powerful. How does the spiritual how does working on the spiritual layer, you've said this already, but I want to know more specifically, how does that look when it affects the other layers?
Because sometimes, for example, you can go and clean the emotional body. For example, okay, we can do that with light, with many ways, okay? Like in many ways we can
vibration, music.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if the origin of that belief actually has been created in like many times, many lifetimes behind. Yeah. Okay? You have to go and heal what happened there. I mean, you don't have to, but if you do it, it gives a higher realization of what needed to be healed in the first place. Because you can heal anything with light, for example. Yeah. Okay, but the beauty of human being is like we are able to become aware of everything that we are creating on our own, how we create our reality. So an event, whatever event we are living we are experiencing. If now I decide that, oh, I did not succeed in that project because actually I was not good enough, I was not worthy, I didn't deserve it, or I was punished, or whatever, for whatever reason, now I'm going to crystallize that judgment. Is going to become my new reality. So next lifetime, or even in this lifetime, I'm going to come with that belief that I'm not worthy, that I'm not blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
even though I have all this potential and I know that I can do so many things, I won't be able to to step into that powerful person that I can be, because there's a program back there that is telling you that actually one time you tried and it ended up not so good for all the people that depended on you.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So you want that to happen again? So this, while you
Yeah.
are doing all your efforts to achieve this and that, there's a program there that's telling you, yes, but you know what? Actually, don't forget that this and that and that. So you are running two different programs in the same time that are completely like canceling each other.
Opposite. Yeah, totally. And I see that so much with my coaching clients. I want to achieve this. Why am I not achieving this? Why don't I have a team? Why am I not there in sales? Well, there's a deep held belief and block and program that we have to address. And it comes in layers, right? Like we can get to the core, to the seed of it. We heal it, they integrate, but then there's another layer that shows up after that when they're ready for it. And there's another one, and there's another, and then finally we can get to where they want to go. But yes, that's a really great explanation.
Sometimes it's like just something that happened like in the childhood, like
right.
Sometimes it could be as simple as I showed my drawing to the teacher and it's like this, like dismissed it, or to my mother, and then I concluded that whatever I'm doing is not interesting. Sometimes it can be like something small like that. It can create a bug. Now, I don't want to say that to start, people who are teachers or mothers to become, or fathers to become guilty or anything like.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Of every little thing. But I want to say that sometimes the program is like not so far ago, and so we can address it quickly. And sometimes the program goes like back to even the time of like when the feminine and masculine were still together, and they start to, sometimes we go like very, very, very far. And like when we do that, we really address the collective consciousness, like we heal the collective consciousness, not just the person that is experimenting this.
I love it. I love it. So how can we work on this every day besides having more awareness? And there's lots of tools and resources for mindfulness. Anything else that comes to mind in terms of trying to, get into the space?
Oh, I thought you wanted to share something.
Oh no, I'm waiting. No, go ahead.
So there are many meditations that I do in groups usually, where I take people in like walking in their mental body and starting exploring, opening doors. Hey, let's open the doors of the program. What kind of program is there here? Okay, and people start to see things, and we follow the link of those whatever is there. We follow the link of the people that put it there. Sometimes it's ourselves, sometimes it comes from other people, and then we go there and we cancel the thing. When I say cancel, it means we replace, because you cannot really cancel energy. Okay, the law of conservation of energy says that there is a certain amount of energy that has been created in the beginning and will remain always the same. And so we are using, there are many ways that I'm using. We can use quantum healing, for which we are using the experiment that have been done in quantum physics, where we use the rules, the quantum physics rules, to change, whatever is our system, because we are a mass of information. And we look like matter, but actually we are a mass of information. So what we can do is that to find this information in the program, take it, replace it, and re-upload a new program.
Yeah.
So it's actually very easy to do. It looks difficult, but actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you're saying this, things like affirmations are a really easy way to do that on a level, right?
Yes, I just want to put a bemol on the affirmation. Is like, you can say an affirmation repetitively. When you say the affirmation, is good. We do the affirmation. When you say the affirmation, pay attention in your body, if there is a resistance that appear
Mm.
anywhere in the body, any manifestation in your body that says, it could be a thought says, yeah, but I don't really believe it, you know, or it could be, oh yeah, these kind of things don't really happen to you, maybe to other people. It could be a thought like that, or it could be just a manifestation in your body, like something started tingling, you know, that says that something has, you know, something to say here. And then we explore it, and suddenly we realize that actually there's a part of us that is actually not resonating with whatever you're saying. So if whatever you're saying has a certain vibration, you emit a vibration because we want to attract, by resonance, you want to attract that thing. So you want to put yourself in that vibration, and therefore you are stating those affirmations. Okay, but this affirmation, what you want really is to reach that frequency in your body. You don't want just to say it. So the fact to say it puts you on the way, on the direction of what you want to reach in your body. But actually, this frequency is what you want to hold in your body in order to be able to attract that thing.
So what I'm hearing is come from the heart when you're speaking an affirmation.
Yeah. So if
have it be true for you.
If you are resonating this affirmation, 100% you're going to attract this. But if it's just your mouth saying this affirmation that puts itself on the frequency that you want to reach, but actually you are not resonating that affirmation or that frequency, it's not going to happen.
And you know that, right? We know what that feels like as a human. We know when we say things that are like completely far-fetched for us, we know what it feels like.
Yes. So when we realize that, what we need to shift is that resistance. What we need to shift is that belief that comes and say, yeah, maybe for other people, but not really for you. Or either that voice, either whatever is there that is manifesting that says, hey, actually, you are not resonating at that frequency. Your body is sending you a signal. Because when we are saying something that is not true, this is how we do with kinesiology, for example. When I test someone with muscle testing, kinesiology is like muscle testing for people who don't know. We access the magnetic field of the person. We are asking the magnetic field to give us information about the whole system. And for that, we are using a muscle of the body to check, because when you are actually in your truth, your energetic system is strong. And so all your muscles are strong. When you are not in your truth, your energy system is collapsing. And so if I check a muscle that is normally strong with you, like something you don't have injury, your muscle will go weak, okay? So when you are stating something that is not true with you, actually, when you pay attention, you know that your energetic system is collapsing, and you know that because you will have a vibration somewhere in your body that will like resonate in a different tune. So the more you get in tune with your body, listen to your body, you will be able to recognize those things.
Yeah, I love that. So I love that. The body is always giving us messages all the time. It's just about slowing down enough to listen and take the right action, right? Like you don't always have to take action, but you definitely have to listen, and then you get to decide when you want to take an action.
I see really the body as a child, or as our child, was our best friend that come and want to see us something so very important, and we're like, okay, later, okay, later. So after some point, that you say, okay, later, or you take, Panadol or anything to shut it down. After some point, it's not going to come to tell you anything. So we have to to give him the space to reestablish that relationship of trust, really.
Absolutely. Trust is a big thing. Absolutely.
Establish the communication.
So because there's only communication when there's trust. So if there's no trust, then the lines of communication are severed. So absolutely. But the more you do it, the more trust you build. And then you take action, and then the cycle repeats, and you create that feedback. And
to remember that our body has an incredible intelligence, because our body has a consciousness of its own. It's not just like a machine. It has a higher consciousness, the body, maybe not as high as the soul, obviously, but it has a consciousness of its own. So his body is absolutely able to communicate and say so many things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love this. This is so great. Anything else you want to say about the mental and emotional? Okay. We talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, people who want to do some exercise, to know more, they are welcome to reach out, and there are always groups that are starting that are where we do all kind of exercise. We explore so many things, and it's really, I really invite people to do it in a way or another, either through contacting us, Lisa and I, or either do it in your own way. But I think those information are very valuable anyway to start realizing that there are other consciousness around us that are not necessarily, that are in our head or in our field, that are not necessarily ours. And we don't want to feed them, we don't want to give into them. And so of course we want to watch them but we don't need to give them more importance than what they have, so of course whatever is ours, we want to process and give it all the importance and start to be able to make the difference between what ours and what's not.
Perfect. So awesome. This is going on my YouTube channel, but I'll share Shalva's information there too, so that you can reach out if there's any questions.
Yes.
Thanks, Shalva.
Thanks, Lisa. It was amazing as always.
Wonderful. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
And we keep in touch for all the questions. Okay.
Yes. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.